The United States has never been closer to armed conflict with Venezuela than it is now. Currently, a heavily armed American flotilla is stationed off the Venezuelan coast, and dictator Nicolas Maduro is wanted by Washington. It is possible that the goal of the American maneuvers could be to overthrow the current regime in Venezuela, writes Axios. Officially, the U.S. military is deployed to combat drug trafficking, but many experts see elements of pressure on the Maduro regime or even preparations for a change of power in this move. The U.S. contingent includes 7 ships, including 3 guided missile destroyers and a submarine, as well as 4,500 troops, including 2,200 Marines, which is unusual for operations aimed at combating drug traffickers. There are different points of view in the Donald Trump administration. Some believe that this is a fight against narco-terrorism, while others see parallels with the capture of Panamanian President Noriega in 1989. At the same time, officials emphasize that the decision on further actions remains with the president, and Maduro should be in a panic. The international reaction has also been tense. Maduro has called the U.S. threats immoral and illegal and called on citizens to defend themselves. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has backed Maduro, arguing that the allegations against the Cartel of the Sun are a far-right fabrication and a pretext for U.S. intervention. Oil remains a key factor in Washington's relationship with Caracas. The U.S. has previously eased sanctions, allowing Venezuela to resume oil exports via Chevron. But policy toward Maduro is being shaped by Trump's allies, particularly Senator Marco Rubio, who sees the Venezuelan regime as a threat backed by Cuba. The U.S. administration hopes that Maduro will either go away on his own or be eliminated. Active interceptions of suspicious drug ships off the coast of Venezuela are expected. Airstrikes and the use of drones are possible. At the same time, many experts believe that a full-scale invasion is unlikely. Maduro was first indicated during Trump's first term as the head of the Cartel of the Sun drug gang, which the U.S. Treasury Department last month designated a foreign terrorist organization. A new expanded indictment could be forthcoming. The Ukrainian Flamingo missile has been called a breakthrough for the Ukrainian military-industrial complex. It has already scared the Kremlin. Ukrainian military political observer of the information resistance group, Alexander Kovalenko, said in an interview with Charter 97 media outlet that here we are talking not only about the defeat of the near and middle rear areas on the territory of the Russian Federation, but also deep rear areas. The second point is a fundamentally more powerful warhead, a tonnage of 1,150 kilograms. To date, the only cruise missile not land-based but air-launched which has such a powerful warhead is the old Soviet Kh-22. It has a warhead weighing 950 kilograms. We can say that today the Flamingo is the most powerful cruise missile in the world in terms of conventional warhead. In addition, it should be noted that the Flamingo missile itself, unlike most subsonic cruise missiles that Ukraine and the world have, is a mobilization missile. It can be produced in large quantities, very quickly, and quite cheaply. Considering that in terms of its characteristics and range, it surpasses even the American Tomahawk, and in terms of warhead, even the most powerful cruise missile, the Kh-22, we can say that it has no analogues in the world. And the final point is that it has a land-based launcher. This significantly complicates the recording of the launcher's entry into position. Most cruise missiles in the world are air or sea-based. For example, the Kh-101, Kh-555, Caliber, the American Tomahawk. These are mainly sea-based launchers, the same Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. When, for example, the Tu-95 takes off, we know about it in advance, he added. According to him, Ukraine can carry out operational and operational tactical tasks deep in Russia and sometimes even achieve strategic successes. 3,000 kilometers makes it possible to cover a large radius across the territory of the Russian Federation, where there are oil refineries, military airfields, military industrial complex enterprises, military units, and other facilities. The list of targets is very long. It is most likely possible to hit one of Putin's residences. But this missile is not an anti-bunker missile. For that, a concrete piercing warhead is needed. Some cruise missiles have these, but the Flamingo does not. In addition, we are talking about an area where there is an echeloned air defense. Moscow and the region where one of Putin's main bunkers is Novo-Ogaryovo is located. If we manage to discharge and exhaust the air defense with massive drone attacks, then we can try to strike with Flamingo. But I believe that eliminating Putin or striking the Kremlin are secondary tasks. The main goals are to undermine the military-industrial complex of the Russian Federation, oil refining, and deprive the budget of revenues from energy exports. Putin's removal will not have a cardinal effect on the war. His bunker is designed even for a nuclear strike. A conventional missile will not destroy it completely. It can damage it, block it for a while, but not eliminate it.
U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker said the Trump administration is increasing military support for Ukraine, including by providing the ability to carry out deeper strikes into Russian territory. Whitaker says a new shipment of weapons worth nearly $1 billion is already on its way to Ukraine. Washington also provides Kyiv with about $1 billion worth of weapons a month at the expense of NATO allies. President Trump is primarily concerned that Ukraine can continue to defend itself. Strengthening its strike capability will also help in offensive operations, Whitaker said. The diplomat noted that Trump, in parallel with military aid, is conducting behind-the-scenes negotiations with the Kremlin and continues to exert economic pressure on Russia. In his opinion, this strategy differs significantly from the actions of the previous Biden administration. President Trump knows all the cards he still has to play. But he also understands that he needs to keep Vladimir Putin at the negotiating table, as well as Zelensky. Will the result be immediate? Most likely, no. But the process is underway, and the parties are communicating. And that's good, he added. Whitaker said the U.S. is giving Ukraine the ability to strike deeper, that was not available under Biden. This is not Donald Trump's war, but he is trying to stop the killings and attacks on Ukrainian cities, the ambassador stressed. Recently, the U.S. State Department approved the sale of 3,350 ERAM long-range air-launched cruise missiles to Ukraine for a total of $825 million. The announcement of the proposed $825 million sale comes as diplomatic efforts to end the war have yet to yield a result and following a deadly night of Russian strikes on the Ukrainian capital. It was announced after President Donald Trump met this month with Russian President Vladimir Putin and separately with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Although the Trump administration has approved a number of sales of equipment to sustain existing weapons, this appears to be the first major arms sale of new weapons to Ukraine announced by the administration.